G'day folks, welcome to tutorial 1 on how to use the OCC Weather Centre. To use the OCC Weather Centre, to access it initially, you need to go to our homepage, home.ozcyclonechasers.com.au. You'll be asked if this is the first time you've been there, you'll be asked to log in, so you'll need to put in your username and your password, and once you've done that, you'll be faced with this page here. Now at the top here, you've got a menu. You can see here the Weather Centre is on that menu, and these tutorials are also in a sub-menu as well. So you can refer to these tutorials whenever you need. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go and click on the Weather Centre and launch the Weather Centre, or if you'd like, or if you'd prefer, you can click on the Weather Centre here and click on that, and that will launch the Weather Centre. When you get to the Weather Centre, initially, if this is your first time, once again, you'll be faced with just a blank map of Australia and you'll be wondering, well, what the hell do I do? To start using the Weather Centre, you're going to have to enable some layers. And so you can see here this control, it says layers. And if we click that drop down, we can see we've got all these different layers. So we can start by using, say, a radar and a satellite overlay layer. And we can see here that at this stage, all we now have is a map of Australia with just random radar and satellite. Now, at the bottom here, you can see the type of satellite I'm using. So because it's night time, I can't see anything in the visible light imagery. So what we'd like to do is probably use the infrared imagery. And so what will happen here is, as you can see, we've now got satellite. Now, obviously, we also want to know what we're looking at and where we're looking. And so the idea here in layers, we can introduce the locations overlay, which starts to put names on the maps, and the boundaries overlay, which also starts to put states on the maps as well. We can add more and more layers to the map. Eventually, though, you'll get to a point where the map starts to get quite cluttered, and so you don't want to probably put all these overlays on at once. You probably just want to put 3 or 4 on at any one time. Otherwise, it does tend to overawe the image, and it does get very messy. So now, looking at all these layers, it's very difficult to make anything out. What is important to understand is that if you click on the Models overlay, it will try and trump any other overlay that you have. So if I've got satellite and radar, and then I click the Models overlay, the Models overlay will actually take precedence. On top of that, what we can do then is, if we don't want the Models overlay to take precedence, we can take down what we call the opacity, so the ability to see through that particular layer. So you can see here, Models will trump everything, but if I don't want the models to trump everything and I still want to have the radar and satellite in the background, I can just drop the opacity, so make it a bit more see-through. And that's what we can do with any one of these overlays at any one time. So we can do that with a number of them, and so you can play around with those to see what image best suits your needs. So that's an introduction on how to access the models and the Weather Centre in general, and also how to enable the various different layers that we have.